But while you're turning there, I want to highlight again, because this is so important, just quickly walk through some of those 24 different events where people gave their lives to Christ. Okay, now, again, 24 times Luke records. And again, these aren't the only times in the first century in the life of the early church, but these are the 24 times that Luke records for us. And it's 24 different times where either a family or an individual or a public figure or a politician or a whole city or a whole village or thousands of people said, wow, they heard the gospel and they were so compelled that they committed their lives to Christ. Now, out of those 24 times, 21 of those times are large families or a large group of people or a large city or several villages, meaning it impacted multiple people at once. 21 different times where all of these people who were either gathered in one place, if you can think of the last place that you were gathered with a group of people, maybe you were at, anyone been to a Pirates game this summer? Yeah, you were at a Pirates game. Was anyone at Faith Night? Okay. A lot of people at Faith Night had because we think, oh, this is only Christians that are here. But a lot of people that were there were not Christians. And imagine if they shared the gospel and all these people that are gathered, I think they said there were 10 or 12,000 people there. And out of that, imagine like 10% were non-Christians who suddenly, upon hearing the gospel and hearing people talk about how their lives were transformed, said, wow, that's amazing. I want that. And then committed their lives to Christ. Now imagine when your kids go back to school. If on the very first day there's a gathering in the parking lot, people hanging out, someone's telling, hey, here's what I did this summer. I gave my life to Christ. And a whole group of kids just say, really? How did that happen? And this guy shares his testimony. And a whole group of kids say, I want that. And they commit their lives to Christ. 21 different times. That's what Luke records for us. 20 of those times are a direct result of someone using their spiritual gift to impact other people. Either someone with the gift of preaching was preaching. There's one time when Peter was just sharing the gospel with a whole family, and the family and friends were gathered in the home, and right then and there, all of the people committed their lives to Christ, and the Holy Spirit fell on all of them. There's another time where we talked about last week where someone who was healed went around the city, and two different villages, all of the people in those villages committed their lives to Christ as they experienced this guy telling his story of how he was healed. 21 different times, or 20 different times, it was someone sharing either a story or using their gifts or serving other people. And many times we think, you know what, just like when we talk about cleaning or we talk about doing some behind-the-scenes task, especially in a church or ministry, we think no one wants to do that. We all want to be up front. But there's a huge emphasis on people who were not up front, who were serving other people, just walking around, doing stuff for other people, and that led people to Christ. 19 other times, 19 of the 24, it wasn't someone going to people who had never heard of God and saying, hey, there's a God that loves you, and they're saying, I've never heard that, and giving their lives to Christ. 19 of the times it was people who were seeking to know God, who were wondering, is God real? Or people who had a misunderstanding of who God is, and then someone came to them and said, no, that's not exactly who God is. Here is the God who created everything and gave his life for you. And upon that revelation, they gave their lives to Christ. 12 of the times, it was in public venues. Of the 24 times that Luke records, half of the times, it wasn't in a building like this. It wasn't in a synagogue. It wasn't in someone's homes. It was in public places. People doing life outside of these four walls that so impacted other people that they decided, wow, I want that too, when they committed their lives to Christ. And 3 of the times were because someone went up to one individual and shared the gospel with them. And one-on-one, that person committed their life to Christ because someone, either obeying the prompting of the Holy Spirit or doing what their spiritual gift led them to do, went up to someone and said, hey, did you know that there is a God that loved me? And Luke records that on 3 separate occasions that there were just individuals all by themselves who committed their lives to Christ.